You've got to do the intro
Yes,
this week.
I've scripted one actually.
Ah, you remembered.
I remembered. I thought of it when I was in the shower earlier.
Oh. I'm looking forward to this one. Right, let me do my sync clap. You ready for it?
I was born ready.
Okay, excellent. I've got my windows open, by the way. You know I do my sync clap, so
Okay.
hopefully no one walks by.
Oh, I heard some birds in the background briefly there. I think they sounded like they enjoyed it.
Yeah, perfect.
Have you still got that bird feeder?
Oh, dude, they're loving it.
Loving it.
Yeah, it's a real treat actually. It's a real treat. I enjoy watching them.
Kieran gets
I think
all
they're actually
the
our
birds.
biggest fans.
Quite possibly.
I'll play the podcast out the window. It'll count as views.
Yeah, so you play the podcast out the window and then you just find like a dead Plutit or something hanging.
I was just about to say, I was going to play the podcast out the window at them, but I don't want them to stop coming.
Yeah. Or maybe they're so intrigued by it that they don't see a predator coming and then
Yeah, they're so enthralled.
get eaten by a cat or something.
Oh no.
Oh no, that's so tragic.
Perhaps if I like put like around the bottom of the feeder where they peck to get the seed up. Perhaps if I put like a device where like every time they peck at it, it hits the play button.
Yes.
And then it's on like some kind of timer where it plays like the minimum amount of time for YouTube to count it as a view, and then it activates again, so it'll pause and then it'll refresh the page or something, and then another one will come along.
Pure genius. Hello and welcome back to the Scrambled Checksum, a podcast with zero reach and a target demographic of your mum. Just kidding, our reach isn't zero. With me is my man Kieran, with a more sophisticated sense of humour than my own.
That was the best intro I think I've ever heard. I'm almost in shock.
I
almost couldn't respond.
I did actually screw up that end bit after all that, but I'm not even gonna. I actually wrote it wrong again, but I didn't get that far the first time I proofread it, so I can't be bothered to try that again. But
Wait, that was like 2 sentences. How did you not proofread that?
I'm dyslexic, all right. Give me a break.
Oh, I feel bad. I'm sorry, dude.
I did actually. Yeah, I legitimately thought of that in the shower when I got home, and I was like, yeah, I've got to get a classic your mum joke in there somewhere. It's because I was just thinking about how we actually have basically no audience, and then I thought, oh, seems like an ample opportunity for a your mum joke. So
It's a slow and steady path to growth.
it is, especially with the 177 views we currently have on our one and only short so far.
Yeah, so relating to that, my name's Kieran. I'm here and happy to be on this incredibly popular podcast, and I'm joined here by Ethan, YouTube Shorts extraordinaire, the only person who people actually do watch.
Exactly, yeah. But Kieran's gonna have some shorts coming soon. I'm sure he'll have them flying off the production line.
I've got to live in your shadow, though. That first one, it's like...
I didn't even think it was that amazing, to be honest. But apparently YouTube does, so...
You settled on the cultural zeitgeist of people fearful that their printers are sat there in the corner silently watching everything they print.
I know. I mean, I was genuinely outraged about it, to be honest. I didn't film that thinking... To be honest, I literally filmed it thinking, I've got to show Kieran this. And then I was like, oh, this could be a short. And then I was like, oh, actually, I'm genuinely annoyed about this. So... Yeah, why does a printer actually need to know? I mean, it's got to be something about Apple's design of how they give access to Wi-Fi information or something. My thinking is like just for context, in case people haven't watched this short. But I mean, who's kidding? 177 people have, and only 3 people have listened to like any of our podcasts. Apparently, so
they will. You have to give it time.
But
the podcast audience takes a longer time to grow.
Yeah,
it's thoughtful, long-form content.
Exactly. And so far,
food for your mind.
So far, we only have like short attention span Zoomers.
It's food for your mind. It takes a long time for people to work up an appetite. So in the meantime, they watch amazing videos about printers.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Basically, I was setting up a printer for my grandparents, and I was using. They have a PC, but it's ancient and barely works. So, and the entire purpose of getting the new printer was because it had AirPrint, and my nana has an iPad, and we wanted to be able to print from the iPad and scan to the iPad, etc., etc. So I thought, well, I may as well, rather than using my laptop to set up the printer, I may as well, go the smartphone app way, and so I downloaded Epson's like smart setup bollocks or whatever the app's called, and put it on the iPad. And yeah, it has this feature where it's like, oh, you don't have to type in the Wi-Fi information using this tiny crap keyboard on. It can just get it from your device. But then it's like, we need access to your location, like, and apparently that's because that's how it accesses the Wi-Fi information on your device. So the only thing I can think is it's another tracking thing, because you know how there's like, I don't know if you remember, a while ago there was that thing where basically there was outrage because, you know, the Google Street View cars that were going round.
Oh, they were like scraping people's public Wi-Fi data.
They were scraping the MAC addresses of because when a router or a wireless access point goes, hey, I'm here, here's my SSID, it also has to give out its MAC address. So they were scraping MAC addresses, and then they could use that to as a way to figure out people's location, even if they had location services turned off, because they were like, okay, well, we know this MAC address is in this area.
Street View data.
Yeah, because
Clever.
they know exactly where the car was, and they know what
Yeah.
MAC addresses were in that area in terms of broadcasting wireless access points. So I wonder whether that the reason it needs location is because it's using some kind of similar thing. And that's how apps are allowed to use location, but they're not allowed to, I don't know, access the Wi-Fi password, but they can. There's like some weird workaround, but it doesn't make sense to me why that they like, the only reason I can think of that they would need that legitimately without actually using it for tracking where the printer's being set up is that it's just some kind of stupid design either on Apple's part, probably on Apple's part, or on Epson's part.
Yeah, the only reason I could think of after you said that it could be legit was that in order to connect to, because you could use the Wi-Fi info as like a rudimentary location tracking, maybe it shows up as like a location permission even though it's just like a Wi-Fi permission.
Yeah.
That was like that was a legitimate reason that was the only legitimate reason, because surely they could, I mean, if they wanted to, they could probably get a lot more information about you from the documents that you're printing, which now I'm thinking, like, what do you think the odds are that they get sent to like a server? Surely not, right?
I don't know. I mean,
it's like
they shouldn't, without disclosing it, they shouldn't, but I mean, who reads the terms?
But you wouldn't put it
conditions?
past them, right? You know, like if they had to, I don't know, for like debugging, or you could imagine it. I feel like I'm putting on a bit of a tinfoil hat there, but like you wouldn't put it past them, right? Just badly designing it and having it in such a way where when you sent it to the printer, I don't know, it probably not actually. I don't think it would probably be like uploaded to a server.
So do you think that there's a chance that Epson have that picture that I printed off of myself dressed up as that raunchy furry character the other day?
I think it's 100% certainty.
I hope they don't.
Coupled with the location data you've already granted them, because you allowed them into your permissions.
It's such a bummer, like saying, because I bought an Epson. Well, I directed my grandparents to buy an Epson because the one that I got my dad to buy for his home office, I had a really good experience with, because the driver for Windows is super minimalist, so you don't have to install any of that like Smart Help Assistant or any of that crap. You literally just install a driver, gives you it lets you access all the features of the printer for printing, and then there's just like a super generic like Epson scanning utility you can use, and it's just super seamless. It just works. There's no extra software that you don't want that it forces you to have. It doesn't force you to have one of those stupid things that sits in your system tray and goes, you should buy legit ink from us, why not get a subscription, advertising, give us your money, all that stuff. It was just
or
like
one of those ones where as soon as you plug in a USB flash drive, it's like, do you want to print these pictures? Open our smart utility.
Yeah.
It's like, no, nobody prints pictures at home. They look like crap if they come out. Unless, to be fair, there's those photo printers that I think do quite a good job. But
yeah.
People don't want to buy the paper because it's really expensive. It's like
all the ink.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shame you can't pirate your own printed copies of photos. Wait, yeah. Sorry, I don't condone piracy in any form. And
You'd have to. You probably could like because you know when you're going to use those photo printing terminals in like a shop, um, there's ones I've seen and used where they put out a Wi-Fi network that you connect to from your device, and it's like a way to wirelessly transfer your photos from like your phone and then print them.
yeah,
So they basically give you like a Wi-Fi network that you can connect to.
yeah.
So like, is there some kind of attack vector, and you can plug stuff into them? Like they've got USB ports on them, a lot of them.
Yeah, that is like a. That is. Yeah.
And they're obviously running something.
They're probably just running like. I don't know.
Probably like Linux, right?
Linux or maybe probably just the what's it called, the like EPOS, is it EPOS?
Oh, EPOS edition of Windows.
Windows, yeah. Like a lot of those sorts of systems are they're usually running like a really stripped down version of of Windows that's literally just got the bare minimum to run the piece of software that connects to the printer.
And they're never going to get updated, are they? It's like
Yeah. It's like for a while there's a bus in my local area that I caught quite a few times, and the route the screen that tells you where you are on the route and like what the next step was stuck on an upside down image. There was the Windows 10 boot screen and repairing Windows, and it kept just failing and rebooting, and then it was like repairing Windows attempt 2 of 10. Like literally I was on that bus was like that for months. Like I keep getting I was on this bus the other week.
I've seen it on like self checkouts as well when they've been rebooting. The one I always think would be a fun exploit too is you know the pay at pump things.
Oh yeah.
So the ones at Tesco have like buttons that you can press, and it'll automatically dispense whatever amount you put in.
Oh right.
So you can put in like, I want £30 of fuel, and you press this button 3 times.
Okay.
And then it won't go over it. It'll stop the pump automatically.
Okay.
It's quite a cool system actually. You can put it down to like the nearest pound and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I always wonder with that, and I've tried various things with it, of like, is there a way that you could get it to like keep dispensing fuel?
What, and only
beyond what
charge
you
you
put in?
£30?
Yeah, but it only charges you whatever you put in. I've tried like various things of like, I've tried going under the amount that I've put in, then waiting a while to see if it like times out the amount I put in, and then tried again.
Sorry, just for it sounded like you said that you tried to steal petrol there, Kieran, but I think what you meant to say is you observed some person who you were unable to identify in any way, and you may have actually dreamt about it.
No, what I did was, obviously, I saw the petrol pump with that system on it.
Yeah.
And then I was so fascinated by it that I bought my own.
Yes. Okay.
For research purposes.
Yes, of course. Yes.
So I purchased my own.
And your
petrol pump.
your own small offshore oil rig as well, and refinery.
Well, I just put water through it. Obviously, I didn't need it to like dispense actual fuel.
Naturally.
So that was on my test. That was on my home personal.
I'm glad we clarified that, because that could have been a difficult. What if one of our 3 listeners had heard that and thought, I better go running to the police?
Well, so I set it up outside, and obviously, that was just on my test petrol pump.
Yeah. He doesn't have it anymore. He gave it away to a charitable cause.
It was stolen, ironically. Physically stolen.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think right, we're safe. Okay, carry on.
My petrol pump I was doing pen testing on. Not really pen testing. I'm giving myself too much credit. My petrol pump that I was playing around with, because I didn't know how it works, was physically stolen while I was trying to find digital exploits in it. I guess that's the ironic thing, right, with me trying, or, researching.
You were so focused on the digital that you forgot about the physical.
It is, it's like petrol would be so easy to steal, because all you do is just put it in your car and then drive away, right?
Yeah.
I know you probably, but like, what are you going to do? You put like tape over your registration plate, and I have to believe that you're probably going to get away with it, right?
Yeah. I guess, yeah. How do they enforce that? They must have like what are they
There's
called?
ANPR cameras and like really good like CCTV at a lot of petrol stations, but it's like if you just put like a thing over your face and you've got a really common car, and then you pull up like just before closing time, and then I'm not advocating anyone do this, by the way, and I've never obviously done this, but like if you did that and then pulled up right at closing time, and then just had like something covering your registration plate or just a different registration plate on your car.
Yeah.
And then you did that, like, yeah, it's probably a lot easier to do
or
that.
if
But
you
they do
did that and then you had a balaclava on, and you just, like, you know how a load of petrol stations have those signs now that are like, don't worry about the side, long hose or something like to that effect, where basically so you can stretch around the back of your car. I always wait until there's one anyway, because
Yeah,
I don't want to get
reach.
greasy petrol prints all
They
over the
don't
back of my
reach
car.
either.
Yeah, and half the time they don't reach. But if you stopped at one of those, could you just pull along? You could just pull alongside someone, pretend you're faffing around with your wallet, and then wait for them to finish pumping, and go inside, and then grab their pump, and then there's got to be something to stop you doing.
No, they get
surely.
deactivated.
Yeah.
As soon as you put them back on the hook, they have to be reactivated from inside. So unless the person left the pump in their car, because you know when you take the pump off the hook,
you
and you have to wait, so that like resets it. Yeah, so that they have to physically like observe you, and so like they see you like running around doing that. But they've got like ports.
Okay. New idea. You get a drill. And you just drill a hole in the side of that person's car into the fuel tank, and then.
I think at that point you may.
You do it. You do it while they're not looking, while they're picking it. Then you subtly drill a hole in it, and then you put a jerry can underneath, and so that the petrol will just keep pumping. And they're like, Jesus, I'm sure my car only had a 50-litre tank like last time I filled it, but it just keeps on pumping, so it must not be full yet.
So assuming they just carry on indefinitely.
Yeah, and then you just
don't notice the person underneath their car.
Yeah, I mean they're unobservant, Kieran. They're probably on TikTok.
Yeah, no one notices the sound of the drill or the drill causing a spark, causing you to blow up underneath their car.
Maybe they were so distracted by the explosion that they didn't notice that you were stealing their petrol.
That's true. I guess you've technically stolen it if you go up in a ball of flame in it.
Yeah, exactly.
You pay for the petrol.
Yeah, I lost my eyebrows too. So I mean, who's the real victim? It's the perfect crime.
It is, yeah. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen any other applications.
Don't pay for petrol. Steal it.
Yeah,
NEFFEX. It's the scramble Checksum way. Steal your petrol. Oh my god. Are we going to say? Is there going to be a single episode of this podcast where we don't say something that could, have us run through a court system or something at some point? Like, I mean, I don't know. Could they hold us accountable if someone stole petrol after listening to this episode?
I don't think so, because the methods we've discussed don't work.
How do you know? Because we haven't tried them, so we don't know. We don't know they don't work, do we, Kieran?
I tried it on my R&D pump.
Ah, right, okay, yeah, and that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And that second car that you just have sitting around for such experiments.
Yeah, R&D car, R&D pump.
Yeah, we got an entire lab for fuel-related shenanigans that we use here at the Scrabble Checksum. I actually saw a video talking of petrol pumps. You know how some actually most petrol pumps they usually have something that says like minimum delivery 5 litres or something like that.
I saw that in my recommended, and it's someone that was like, what happens if you ignore it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I also saw that in my recommended and watched it, and it was quite interesting actually.
What happens?
It just lets you take the fuel, but
also it's not like a thing.
It is and it isn't. It's not that you can't. It's basically it comes down to a legislation thing, as it always does, where basically most pumps, or at least it used to be this way, it might not be anymore, but most pumps for some reason are not able to give an accurate reading of how much fuel they've delivered under a certain amount of fuel delivered.
Oh, so it'll let you do it. It just won't. You might be getting overcharged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So it's a thing to basically say, if you pump underneath this, you might not have actually got this amount of fuel, and we might be overcharging you, but you're accepting liability because you did this thing that it says don't do.
I was going to say, yeah, because when I saw that video, I was like, I'm sure when I was like a teen and I had my little moped and I was really poor, I've definitely put in like £2.40 of petrol.
Wait, hang on, rewind. You had a moped?
Yeah.
Holy crap, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What, like a proper little tiny one?
Yeah, like a 50cc.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't picture. I guess you do rollerblading and stuff, don't you? And you little. You kind of. So I was going to say I didn't see you as the kind of person who'd take that kind of risk, but
It's not really a risk.
well, I mean, the roads are dangerous places, Kieran.
They are, but they're not very fast.
I don't know. I just didn't picture you on a motorbike. Or, I don't know.
Well, that's why I didn't proceed with becoming a motorbiker.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's not really.
It's pretty miserable in the rain.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Plus, I like my tunes, and trying to wear headphones underneath a helmet's a nightmare.
Can't you get like helmets that have built-in?
You can, but they're. I couldn't afford one of them, dude. I was like 17.
You're paying £2.50 for petrol.
Yeah, exactly. I was scraping pennies together to buy the pittance of fuel that it took. Oh. I couldn't afford to buy a fancy. I remember one of my most enduring memories of it was that once a wasp flew underneath my jacket on it.
Oh no!
And stung me.
Oh no!
While I was riding it.
Oh, that's tragic.
Yeah, it was awful.
Wow.
And then the amount of times I've ridden it and got absolutely sodden.
You're not exactly like. I don't know. I would like. I don't know. My mind is blown by this information that I've just received. I don't know. I just never pictured you as the kind of person to ride kind of like two-wheeled, motor-powered.
It was basically because we lived in a rural area, and so it took a long time if you were going anywhere on like a push bike.
Yeah.
It took a really long time to get anywhere. So yeah, the moped was like a decent solution for that while I was learning to drive, before I could start learning to drive.
Okay, so you were talking like 16 kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
okay.
It's before I could drive. Yeah, so I was, I had my little 50cc moped.
Like the other thing, like apart from it seeming like just like out of character from a. Like I don't know, like no, which is fine. Everyone's well read. I'm not judging. Might be a little bit, but like you're quite like tall and kind of Stephen Merchant-esque in more than the fact that you're both from Bristol. Like
we all sound the same. Oh, I get it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Mopeds are quite small. Like, did you not have like an issue with like your legs being in your face, like your knees?
No, it wasn't that. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad for that because you can just sit further back in the seat, so you're
like on the mud flap.
Not on the mud. Well, no,
dragging your ass along the back wheel.
Well, no, because if you think about it, they're designed to have up to 2 people riding on them.
Really?
So
what a moped?
This one was. Yeah, because they've got like, or having like at least like 2 people and like a bit of like a parcel shelf, I guess, on the back. It was like, if you think, like, you've seen 2 people riding a Vespa, right?
I mean, I wouldn't. A Vespa's like one of those little scooter things that they have in Italy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, so you just sit a bit further back. I just like sit a bit further back in the seat. You can put your legs forward a little bit. There's like kind of room for you to like tilt your feet up a bit of an angle. It wasn't particularly uncomfortable in that respect, to be fair. It was just that it's because you go so slow. You're kind of a nuisance if you're not on like, if you're not on a slow, like a 30 road.
Yeah.
So like on an A road, on like a 60-mile-an-hour one, you kind of feel like a bit of a pain. So you're not supposed to do this, but like obviously you're going to go over to the left because like you don't want to be a nuisance and block everyone. But then people pass you like you're a cyclist.
Yeah.
So that's a bit sketchy.
Well, it's kind of sketchy that they pass cyclists like that, to be fair. Like, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, in the UK, as of the some point at, was it the beginning of this year or no? It's the beginning of last year. You have to give, I think, is it 2 meters to a cyclist?
Wow, 6 feet. Yeah.
Yeah, when you go past them.
They definitely didn't give that to me on the old moped.
Well,
I enjoyed it.
Honestly, most people don't even do that now. Honestly, I've seen some real haphazard overtakes in my rearview mirror of cyclists. Like, because I always like hold back, and I get this huge string of traffic behind me because I'm holding back, and waiting for a place where I can actually give them enough space, and then it pretty much like I'll overtake when there's only enough room for one car to get past before there's like a blind turn or a car coming the other way, and then I look in my rearview mirror and like 5 cars like nearly knock the cyclist off, like passing like
Jesus.
1 foot past it. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, the poor cyclist.
It wasn't quite that bad on the moped. The moped was all right, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I used to cycle, like my first job. I used to cycle too, and I had to cycle along this kind of. It wasn't like super narrow, but it was a 50-mile-an-hour road, and it wasn't perhaps as wide as it could be. It was just like this bypass, and you used to get quite a lot of trucks going over that, and oh my God, it was scary. It was really scary. Like, I actually feared for my life on several occasions cycling along there, because they didn't even move over on the road at all. They just went flying past you.
Oh, no, because like the backdraft or the updraft or the side draft or whatever it's called, that's like pretty forceful sometimes.
Yeah, oh, it was terrifying. I mean, I never actually got knocked off or hit, but like, oh my God.
Yeah, you kind of taken your life in your hands a little bit.
Never again. Was not worth it for the pitiful amount of money that I'm pretty sure they paid me under minimum wage.
Were you technically an apprentice while you were doing it or something, and they can pay you like £1 an hour?
No, it was cash in hand.
I see.
It was my first
Yet
job.
more crimes being disclosed.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't do the crime.
Well, you didn't pay tax on it though.
But I was under 16, so you don't have to pay tax.
Oh, this is true.
I think, in fact, is it 18? I think you start paying.
I think as well, you'd probably. It sounds like if you were being paid that little, you're probably earning less.
I don't think I earned enough to be like honestly.
To be eligible.
Yeah, I barely earned enough in the like few months that I worked there every Saturday to pay for half my first computer.
You barely earned enough to pay for the food that you needed to sustain you as you rode that bike and risked your life to get to it.
Yeah, I mean, at least I guess they did have a cafe. I got free food from that.
That's something.
So I got 1 meal a week.
Food in hand.
Yeah, I got one meal every Saturday.
You were paid in food.
That was all I ate to sustain me. And the rest, I just lived off the power, the energy of the universe for the rest of the week.
Just living off that death-defying, all that gave you the energy for that death-defying bike ride.
Yeah.
Saying about...
I think it was the adrenaline rush of the lorries going past that kept me going the rest of the week.
Your life flashing before your eyes.
That and a bowl of soup and
saying about
toast.
Saying about issues on the road. I actually had... It reminded me of a very interesting encounter that I had on Saturday, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
On the road, where I was being tailgated by this SUV, and then as it was coming up, it was on like a dual carriageway, and we were coming up to like a junction, not a junction, an exit to go off, and like the guy was like proper riding my ass, right? Didn't even buy me dinner first. Didn't even pay me food in hand at a cafe.
Were you? Can I just ask just to paint the picture more? Were you in lane 1 at this point?
Yes.
Yeah.
As in the left hand. Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell. I hate it when people do that.
Yes, he was riding my ass, right? And then like he's then going to take this exit, and as he's about to, he like flashes me, which is like, you're already turning off, dude. What is it? Is your life that precious? If you lose like 1 millisecond, it's that much of a deal.
Yeah.
But then like I look over to like as he's going alongside me, as he's going off this exit too fast. And it's this like guy, he's gotta be at least in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he like looks over at me and then does the like wanker gesture, which I have not seen anyone do since I was like 16.
Wow.
This elderly man.
Oh, that is amazing.
So he was the one that had been like super close, tailgating me, flashing me, and then as he's pulling off alongside me, I was like, God, dude, I just laughed at him. I haven't seen anyone do that in such a long time.
That is just, wow.
It's like since I think when I was at school was the last time someone did that gesture to me.
I don't think I've ever done that unironically.
Yeah, and it's like, when was the last time someone did that to you? It's like probably when you were a teenager.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, just shed some light on the scene. So you're on a dual carriageway. Was it national?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and you were doing 70 exactly 70, of course.
I was probably doing like 68. I was pretty chill.
Yeah.
It's pretty empty.
But still,
the
like,
issue was,
like if he wants to go past you, there's a whole other lane.
The issue was, I think he was too close to his exit to be able. He didn't have time to go past me and cut back in go off his exit.
Usually that
so
doesn't stop them.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking he's probably going to cut me off. But yeah, he'd obviously lost, like, he like pulled up on me really fast. I saw him coming in like my rearview mirror, like barreling down. You know when you see him like looming up on you super fast?
Yeah.
So I saw him like barreling down. And I was like, well, I'm not just going to like go out into the other. I could have just gone out into the other lane and like made room for him, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to go out there. So yeah, I'm like, I just sat there going at like 70. Yeah, he comes barreling down behind me. Obviously, he's too close to his exit to like whip around me. So then he just like sits there really close to me, then like flashes me, and yeah, then that's the scene.
It's like what world do these people live in? Like, I'm in a hurry, so this person should break the law to get out of my way.
It's bizarre. It's like I wasn't going like mega slow. Like, you know, I guess if you you know, he had to get back to watch The In-Betweeners, which was the last time I probably saw that portrayed in media. It was just that I couldn't believe. I was like, wow.
Wow.
This elderly man felt the time to take out of his day to do that. So my question about that topic is, linking it back to our topic of tech.
Yeah.
Do you think behaviour like that will get better or worse with, you know, FSD-esque, full self-drive, esque tech? Will people then have more time on their hands to become annoyed? Or will the fact that they're not in direct control of the car and the car actively prevents them doing stuff like that mean that becomes less of a problem?
Maybe they'll just be doing the wanker gesture at their car dashboard.
Constantly.
Like, they'll just be doing it at the dashboard. They'll just be shouting at their own car for not breaking the law and doing an illegal undertake or something.
Will that be the new road rage? It'll be like, instead of shouting at other drivers, it's like...
I like to think that they'll channel all their rage directly at Elon Musk. Like, God damn you, Elon! For bringing upon this era of self-driving cars. Because, of course, we all know that Elon Musk is the only person.
He invented the technology personally.
He invented
That's what he does when he's in the... which is the office he sleeps in? Is it SpaceX or is it Tesla? Anyway,
SpaceX, Tesla. What's his
Tesla? I think normally is the one that
does he? Oh, Twitter. That's the other one. He sleeps in the library at Twitter.
Well, whichever one that he's actively sleeping in at the minute. The Boring Company, I feel like, don't get a lot of love from him though. Do they even still going?
I think they must be. I have no idea.
Maybe he sleeps in the TDM.
They did. Didn't they do...
did they actually do anything apart from make those flamethrowers and send them to influencers?
I think they did. They did dig a tunnel between the Las Vegas Convention Center and somewhere else in Las Vegas.
But was there any point to it, or was it just like a publicity stunt?
Well, no, there wasn't a point to it, Kieran. It's a tunnel.
Yeah. Hey. And then, yeah, they made... Because I feel like they gave... Every influencer had one of those flamethrowers, right?
Oh, do you remember when they first came out? Rich Rebuilds. I think he made his own flamethrower, and then he just made this really salty comment about how all these rich people were driving around in their Teslas and like virtue signaling how eco-friendly they are, whilst shooting flames out of this, shooting like burning petrol out of this fucking flamethrower out the window. It's this guy.
Yeah, because like it was all. I don't know who got on the list to get one of those, but like it felt like everyone had one.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Well, every influencer a certain size anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to think whether anyone I watch on YouTube on a regular basis got one. I feel like Zach from Jerry Rig Everything. I think he had one.
Yeah, they just like had them. Everyone just had them for a while, and then they all just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, maybe they blew up.
I don't know if they still make them or if you could buy one. But anyway, so whichever company Elon's actually sleeping at when he invented FSD, do you think that people are going to become like more mellow as they're driving along? Because you know they can't do anything. They can't like affect change. But obviously they've got some kind of rage in them still.
Do they? When someone's on a train, do people make rude hand gestures at signals that hold them up?
Other trains.
Other trains, yeah.
That's true. That doesn't happen, does it? And like
No.
people don't routinely do it on the bus either, do they? Like, no one gets on the bus and is like, you know, making like a rude gesture at like a train going by on like a level crossing.
Or I don't know. I guess would more of a closer equivalent be like if you were getting a taxi, or I guess in the 21st century. an Uber or what's the other one that people
Lyft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I don't know. Because I actually don't know if people do that. Do people like get second-hand road rage when they're in an Uber? Or
I
is it,
don't
like,
know,
only...
Kieran. I don't tend to use public transport and taxis and stuff because I have my own automobile. You see.
Oh, because you destroy the environment. Here we go.
Yeah,
All these people here driving around, pouring your
drive a horrible
single car.
gas guzzling 1 litre. Not even 1 litre
God.
actually. It's 0.98 litres. I'll have you know.
God, that is horrific. You're there, stealing the petrol to drive your 1 litre engine.
I mean, I could have a moped like certain co-hosts of mine, but I I choose to drive my extravagant 4-seater
bougie car.
tiny little town car.
God, what a joke. But yeah, so you don't think people will get FSD rage? You think that'll put an end to road rage?
Yeah, I think if it's actually at the point where people don't have to be paying any kind of attention to what's going on, like it is literally the car's actually driving for them, not the car's controlling itself, but you're the driver still, like you're monitoring it and having to do your observations and everything and stay alert. I think
you just go in your own little world, right?
Yeah, I
think
think
your phone or something.
Yeah, people just it'd be the same as like when they're on the bus and they've got their headphones on, or like just they'll just be watching Netflix or whatever on their iPad, and
And I guess in a way, if like someone else's car screwed up, it's like the same situation as if, say, someone else's laptop crashes. You don't get angry at it. I know it's a bit different because, like, if someone else's...
Or if you're on a bus and it merges into the side of a car.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
I've legitimately... I've been in that scenario once.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
And
it was at very low speed, thankfully. The bus didn't even stop. No, I didn't. The bus didn't even stop. The guy who he hit, though, did. Because the bus just carried on. I don't think the driver actually even noticed until the guy got out of his car and came running up the side of the bus going, "Stop, you!" Insert your choice of expletives here.
So what you're saying is that you weren't a good bus passenger because when that guy experienced that road rage and came up shouting at the bus driver, you didn't all bandy together
and just go, "Car
on team bus and go, well, come on then,
car wanker."
Yeah, that could have been a moment of like the people's revenge.
Oh, can we get a counter? I'm going to say no because I'm editing this episode, but on the YouTube version of this, can we get a counter for how many times we've said wanker in this episode so far?
Yeah, but I'll put it on the episode that I edit next time.
Yeah.
Can we on the next episode that Kieran edits put in like a different intro too, like a 3D logo effect coming down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kieran will sort that. That's gonna be future Kieran's problem.
Fix it in the edit.
Yeah, we'll fix it all in post. On another topic about cars, I had a micro rant that I wanted to have.
A micro rant.
A micro rant. Well, wait, it's more like I want to get it off my chest, but I don't really know how many legs it has, or like what's the term I'm looking for? You know what I mean? Like I don't know how much potential it has for sparking conversation, but I want to get it.
You don't want to risk your YouTube Shorts career that's already burgeoning.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
maybe it is more of a YouTube short. I don't know. We'll cut it out if it's crap. Anyway, so I was at work this week, as I usually am, and our company started giving more privileged folks than me electric cars as their company vehicle.
That's pretty cool.
I say more privileged because I don't get a company vehicle, but some people do. And
that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it is. And so I was one of the choices and one of the cars that a few people have got is they've got the 2023 Kia e-Niro or Kia Niro E or whatever the hell the electric
Cafe
version.
Nero.
Whatever the hell the electric version of the Kia Niro is called. Anyway, a pretty solid choice of electric vehicles, relatively affordable, decent range. It's good bang for your buck electric car. Explosion for your pound, as we might say in the UK. I don't know. Bang for your buck sounds a bit too American. I don't want to get
a good lipo for your pound.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was talking to this guy. And I was kind of like, "Oh, you just got this. How are you finding it?" Kind of. I expressed my dismay at the fact that the company's like expecting people to have these cars as their company. I'm pro electric, don't get me wrong, as their company car, but they're not paying for people to have a charger fitted at home. Which
Do they provide a charger at work?
It depends what location you're at. And
because I feel if you're
nowhere near enough charges for everyone to be able to charge.
I feel like if you're going to give everyone an EV as your company car, that kind of has to come with the investment in you put an EV point in sufficient quantity for everyone to go to charge
maybe that's
work.
the plan, but I feel like they should be giving.
That should have been done. They should.
If they're paying for the car, they should be paying for the charger.
And I feel like there's enough support and schemes that you can get to put.
It's a one-off cost as well. If they're like saying, okay, well, we're going to be leading the way, and we're gonna only have electric company cars from now on. They only have to pay for the charger to be fitted at home once.
Or even just if they're going to fit them at I can kind of see why they don't want to fit them at home, because it kind of opens up a bit of a problem of like, what if people rent?
Well, yeah, but I mean, if they don't have the option, but if you own a home and you have a place to put it, I feel like they should. Anyway, that's besides the point.
At work minimum.
At work, definitely at least at work. But anyway, besides the point. But anyway, we were talking about this, and he was like, "Oh, we've got it's got a bit of range anxiety with it, but." And I was kind of, oh yeah, that will probably wear off, because I mean it was they've never driven an electric car before.
Yeah,
I have experience driving the Hyundai equivalent, and I've never experienced range anxiety in that car, even driving like over 200 miles without stopping for a charge. I'm like, it's fine. It's
kind of like when you first get it, it's like you're terrified every time you go to the supermarket. It's like, oh no. What if this one's closed? Yeah. And then what if I have to go to another one and then that one's also closed?
But it's not anything to do with the car. It's just this doctrine that people have in their head that EVs have short range. And they think they look at the range prediction on the car when they get in, and they're like, "Oh god, it's only saying 180 miles. Oh, it's barely anything." But then most people don't drive anywhere near that in a week, let alone a day.
And I think as well, it's like when they see it tick down, you pay extra close attention to it. So when you realise you've done like 1 mile and you see it tick down 2, you're like, oh god, now my range is 90 miles. It's cut in half.
Yeah, that's not actually how it works. It's constantly recalculating based on like the driving conditions and stuff. So
yeah. So anyway, talking to this guy, and he's terrified that he's going to go into the shops and get stranded at Sainsbury's. And
one of my other colleagues, who is lovely, but he's of an older persuasion, he was like, well. Good. He delivered some wonderful news to me, Kieran. We don't need to worry about range anxiety anymore, and we don't need to worry about the fact that we're being forced by the government to adopt electric cars by 2035. Even though that's not actually what's happening, but anyway.
No, it's not.
But we don't need to worry about that because Mazda have the solution for you, Kieran. They have the solution for you. Do you know what it is?
Is it hydrogen?
No, it's not hydrogen. It's better than hydrogen because we don't even have to switch to a different type of fuel.
Is it the synthetic fuels thing?
No, it's not even that, Kieran. They've just released... No, okay, guess away.
My guess is, have they come up with an innovative new fuel?
No.
Based on perhaps some kind... No. Based on some kind of perhaps hydrocarbon. Not like diesel, but like maybe refined a little bit more. And then delivered through like a nationwide network of areas where you pump it into your car. And then it burns in the engine. And then under compression. And then the explosion like pushes the piston the other way. And then it's like some kind of a, fossil fuel, if you will.
Well, it is, yes, Kieran. It's amazing, innovative technology. But this engine is so efficient.
Oh, is it the rotary engines?
I don't know. I actually don't. I didn't even ask because it's such a stupid statement that I don't even want to give it the light of day. But it really pissed me off. Because basically, this engine's so efficient that it'll be cheaper than running an electric car. And I'm like, oh yeah, because the reason that we're all we need to switch to electric cars is because it's because it's cheaper. No. No, I mean, like, and also, even if you're looking at it from an environmental perspective, it doesn't fucking matter if it's 10%. It has 10% less emissions than the previous generation. Even if we keep reducing the emissions every generation by 10%, it will never be zero, ever.
Also, it's like that's not a solution.
Ever, Kieran, ever. It won't ever be zero, Kieran. It won't be. It won't be zero, ever.
It's like the VW Blue Motion stuff that they did. Well, it was really impressive actually. The MPG they managed to get, but it's like that's not a long term.
Wasn't that just AdBlue though?
I don't think so.
Was that?
I think that was part of it.
That was different to AdBlue, was it?
I don't know.
Because trucks and stuff have to use AdBlue, like in vehicles over a certain, like diesel vehicles now they have to have AdBlue, but that's not it. It doesn't like increase the MPG or anything. All it does is, I think it's for the sulfur dioxide emissions.
These were like they got really impressive MPG, and it was from like I think a bit of it was their like emission cheating stuff because it was pre that coming out.
Oh yeah. I mean, you say a bit of it.
Allegedly.
I mean, maybe all of it.
allegedly, that might have been wrong. I can't remember if those models were affected, but it was something like where it was really small capacity engines, and they did a lot of trickery, allegedly, perhaps literally. But yeah, they were quite impressive. But yeah, it's not really like a long term. It also doesn't really solve the problem in the sense that like you're not going to be able to use that tech to run like a truck.
No.
It's like, oh yeah, here's our truck. It's got this 0.9 litre Mazda engine. It'll. I mean, at that point, you may as well just have canal boats towed by horses.
Yeah, nitrogen oxide is what AdBlue reduces.
Oh, okay.
According to the RAC.
So this guy says, don't worry about it. The Mazda engine solves it all.
Yeah, basically, and it's just like, no, just do the maths. Like it doesn't matter. Like it's like there's basically a principle. But like if we're ever gonna hit, like we're never gonna hit zero emissions, which is why it's net zero emissions, because we are gonna have to do some kind of offsetting at some point, but we need to get as many things as possible. If there is a way for it to be zero, we need to be doing it with zero, basically. And
it's a multifaceted approach too, right?
Yeah.
You can't just use one approach and solve everything.
Yeah.
One approach.
But where we're investing in solutions, though, there has to be. It can't just be, oh well, we'll achieve 50% reduction in emissions by doing this, by investing in this technology by this date, but then that technology has no more further potential to reduce emissions further. That's a stupid investment, which is what investing... It doesn't matter if we could spend another decade investing in research in fossil fuels and internal combustion engine vehicles or other forms of vehicles that burn a fuel to get them to be... Even say we could get them to have 80% less emissions for a given power output. It doesn't matter, because that's a wasted investment, because we get to 80% and then we can't go any further. So that time and resources and money would have been better invested in a different technology that might not be zero emissions straight away, but will be does actually have the capability of being zero emissions. And I hate to break it to you people, that technology ain't petrol or diesel. And I personally think that it actually is battery electric vehicles. And everyone keeps going, oh, but the batteries are, but the carbon emissions it uses, but it emits more to manufacture, blah blah blah. Yes, I know, but it could not emit anything during the manufacturing process if we power it with green energy, and the batteries could be zero impact if we manufactured them with recycled materials, which we can do. We just don't have the scale to do that in the recycling to do that yet, but it's possible, and that's why we should invest in that, not fossil fuels, because it's not there right now, but it can be there right now, so it makes sense to invest in it. I'm Ethan. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
But is it cheaper?
Oh, fuck off. Kieran knows Kieran knows how to really trigger me on this. You've been on the tail end of this rant so many times.
What if it's not cheaper? What will I do?
Well,
I'm gonna stick with my Mazda, I think. I'm gonna go find that Mazda.
Oh,
I'm curious where people get this. I'm curious where people get this information from because I'm guessing Mazda didn't put out a press release, right? That said like, "We've got the future and it's cheaper."
you
Like,
know,
they didn't
you know
put that-
what, you know what? I wouldn't put it past them because
No.
well, Mazda's. I think Mazda's Japanese, right?
They are, yeah.
And like, there's a certain company who may or may not be one of, if not the largest automotive company by units shipped annually in the world, that also happens to come from Japan, who have been very vocal about not wanting electric vehicles to become a thing, despite being early pioneers in hybrid vehicles.
Didn't they put a ton of money into hydrogen though?
Well, yeah, and it's interesting actually that basically the reason that Japan has been so hydrogen focused and so if people tend to focus on Toyota as being the whole it's hydrogen fuel cells of the future, not battery electric vehicles, because just for the uninitiated, a hydrogen fuel cell car, it doesn't burn hydrogen. It's not an internal combustion engine that burns hydrogen, which is entirely possible. It's a terrible idea for many reasons. Check out the videos by Engineering Explained on YouTube. Great videos. But anyway, basically what it does is it's effectively it is an electric car, a battery electric car. It still has a battery. It's just a very small one where, like, the smallest battery you'll find in a modern EV would be probably... Well, actually, there are some with like maybe 30 kilowatt hours, but most modern EVs have a 50 kilowatt hour plus battery, where these ones maybe have a 10 kilowatt hour battery, and then they have 2, maybe 3 hydrogen tanks, and they basically pass hydrogen and oxygen that they get from the air through this thing called a fuel cell, and basically the oxygen and the hydrogen want to react with each other, and when they do that, they release an electron that goes around a circuit, charges the battery powers an electric motor. So anyway, Toyota put all their eggs in that basket, and the reason is because of, I think it all started, I believe, because of that tsunami that they had. Was it tsunami in Japan? I might be getting...
Are you thinking of Fukushima? Because I think
that
was too...
Yeah, was it Fukushima? Yeah.
Yeah, because that was later. I think that was the earthquake that caused the tsunami. But that happened after they'd already started down the like hydrogen route.
Yeah, but it was basically, there was a big push for it because when they had those natural disasters and then they had Fukushima and stuff, it basically they wanted a way to be able to produce emergency power. So the government were like, hydrogen, because we can use it to generate electricity or some shit. So hydrogen fuel cell, and they didn't want electric cars because they were like, oh, everyone will get stranded, kind of sort of thing. I don't know. Something, I'm completely mixing all the facts, but it's something to do with Fukushima, a tsunami, and backup power. That's why Japan basically was as the government and like everyone over there was very anti-EV, despite the fact that Nissan actually were very pro-EV before Carlos Ghosn got arrested.
In mysterious circumstances.
He got smuggled out of the country in, was it like, I think it was like a violin case or something. It wasn't a violin case. It was some form of...
He's a very small man.
Yeah, it was some form of musical instrument. It's genuinely a true story. He actually he got smuggled out of the country in a...
It was super weird what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, I think from everything I've heard, he definitely was guilty of what he was accused of, but... it was a shame because he was the driving force behind like the Nissan Leaf and everything, and as soon as he left, suddenly now we're stuck with fucking Nissan e-Power, which, according to their press materials, all the pros of electric vehicles and none of the drawbacks, which is kind of skirting around the issue that one of the pros of electric vehicles is the zero emission part, and all e-Power is it's just an electric motor with a tiny battery that's charged by a petrol engine.
So it's not cheaper.
It's more fuel efficient, but again, go back to the same argument that we had before. It will never be zero emission, and also it's not all the benefits of electric, because it's not got like the main reason like that we even like we even need to switch to away from fossil fuels with any urgency is the environmental side of it. It hasn't got that benefit, so it hasn't got all the pros with none of the drawbacks. It's just bullshit marketing, as usual.
There you go. So as part of that bullshit marketing then, where do you think this guy heard that this Mazda thing was the answer? Do you think it was like a Facebook thing?
Probably.
That's obviously come from somewhere, right? So someone at some point has told him these things. Like, he's not just made that up himself, right? There's probably a kernel of truth in there. But, like, has that just been distilled through the lens of Facebook? Has he spent too long in the metaverse?
Maybe. I don't think he's ever. He's probably not even heard of the metaverse. He's an older chap. Has
he inadvertently been placed into the metaverse, and that's where they've told him these things?
Maybe it was Mark Zuckerberg and the lizards.
He's sleeping in the Boring Company tunnels with Elon Musk, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Not even allegedly. I don't think anyone's even alleging that.
No. Well, we are now.
Yeah. This is a work of fiction, all resemblance to any billionaires, real or dead.
I've never even heard of Elon Musk. Who's that?
Yeah, he's a composite character.
Yes.
Any resemblance to a real billionaire isn't.
He's a dream of Microsoft Bing chat.
Yeah, the Bing thing. Yeah, exactly. He's
an AI hallucination.
Anyway, nothing that we said here was real. No admissions of crimes were real. No alleged real world pen testing actually took place.
Yeah, and we just want to remind everyone the reason this podcast is called The Scrambled Checksum is because we're passionate about many things and do small amounts of research, i.e. watch YouTube videos.
I don't do any research.
And I'm trying to spruce it up a little bit here, Kieran.
Oh, okay, yeah, we do small amounts of research.
Small amounts of research and then forget that small amount of research and then talk passionately out of our arses for roughly an hour every other week and release that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I'd done so much research that I was so exhausted from doing said research that I forgot that I'd done it in the first place.
Yeah, me too.
That must have been it, yeah. And then it gets scrambled and sent to you via your podcast platform of choice every other Monday.
Yeah, I researched hard last night, all over YouTube.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a terrible soundbite.
I did a lot of YouTube research. Yeah.
I'm terribly sorry to any channels that were watched by Ethan last night. I hope you didn't leave comments at least. Jesus Christ.
Oh, you know, I intended for that to be kind of a shock statement, but even I was caught off guard by the.
I think maybe it was that you were expecting that people would be shocked that you'd done research, but actually the shock was more the admission.
Yeah. Oh no, Kieran, it's been a long week. All right.
So I would urge you to unsubscribe from any channels that you're currently subscribed to or may have subscribed to last night in a bit of research.
Violated by my research.
Amidst your research last night, if you look back through your recent subscriptions, maybe just, delete any recent comments, unsubscribe. Hopefully you didn't do it on this channel.
I never watch my own stuff. Much.
No, well... Oh dear.
There's no way out, Kieran. There's no way out. I'm trapped.
Yeah, just...
Can I have a ladder, please?
That you weren't logged into the same account.
I don't think I was logged into the Scrambled Checksum account.
Thank goodness. At least there's some kind of distance when I need to put out a statement that you're no longer with the channel.
Yeah.
I can at least say that,
Ethan hardcore research all over Linus Tech Tips.
Ethan's research.
We don't condone this behaviour.
We can confirm that Ethan will no longer be researching anything in relation to the channel.
We've locked him away where he'll never research again.
We've strictly put him into a no research role.
Yeah.
Non-public facing. We've restricted his YouTube access as well.
Yeah, he can't. He's not even allowed to get upset about Epson printers spying on him anymore. Although they did help uncover his hardcore research, and when they uploaded it to the cloud when he tried to print it off.
Yeah,
for offline viewing.
Oh. Oh dear.
Oh no! I just nearly fell off my chair.
Well, that's why we don't. That's why we don't do any research. We speak from the heart here every other Monday.
I feel like this has gone really off the rails, Kieran. We need to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'll see everyone in the future episode a week on Monday.
Where he'll be podcasting with himself. Researching solo researching.
We'll think of a reason why Ethan's no longer with the channel.
Yeah.
Perhaps he can bow out with some kind of class with one of his final YouTube shorts.
And we'll be replacing me with Chris Evans, the Radio 2 presenter, not Captain America, for one catastrophically overrated, terrible season, which everyone laughs at and then forgets.
How ironic that the car episode is the one where you have to bow out forever.
Yeah. Terrible. On a real though, definitely do actually check out Engineering Explained, his videos talking about hydrogen combustion engines and hydrogen fuel cells. He did a video on Versus, and he does a lot of, if you're into your transportation and race cars, or he's done some interesting videos on F1, on like the engineering behind that, and how the engines work and stuff. Pretty interesting. Definitely recommend it.
Do not go in the comments and say that Ethan or the Scrambled Checksum sent you. Just do not say you discovered him through...
Don't do any research without consent from the researched parties.
Just explain that you discovered him naturally through the YouTube algorithm. There was no recommendations involved.
Yeah.
No affiliate links, nothing like that. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Check us out on your podcast platform of choice. Apple Podcasts, whatever that's called. Is it Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, just Apple Podcasts.
Google Podcasts, Spotify.
Right here on YouTube.
Still no Deezer, unfortunately. We're working on it.
No, we are working on it. Unfortunately, my progress has been hindered by Kieran banning me from doing any kind of research. So
I've been working round the clock and trying to get us on Deezer. But yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, share, rate, upvote, research us if you want.
Yeah.
You know.
All the things.
And and we'll see you in the next one.
Stay safe, everybody. Be good to each other. Bye.
And focus on what's cheaper. Bye bye.
Steal petrol.
Jesus Christ.